யாரு? இப்பதான் நான் கனெக்ட் ஆயிட்டு இருக்கேன். ஒண்ணு கனெக்ட் ஆயிடுச்சு. டாட் நெட் ஒண்ணு வருமா? அத பண்ணுங்க. தீபா அட்மிட் பண்ணுங்க. தீபா, am I audible? எனக்கு கேட்க மாட்டேங்குது. நீங்க பேசுங்க தீபா. இல்ல மைன். Princess, can you talk? Deepa, am I audible?
Yes, audible. You're audible.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is my first slide, so
Okay, sir. Visible.
okay, great. Should we get started, ma'am?
Sir, we have 35 participants now. Shall we wait for 1 or 2 minutes, sir?
I'm okay. Whatever you all feel you should do. And we said 10:30, is it automatically assumed to be 10:35, 10:40 like that? Or
No, sir. I guess people from all the places have to get connected. All these students now segregated. We'll just give them 1 minute, sir.
it's fine. It should not take 2 hours. So
Yes.
I'm okay to wait. Just want to make sure people who have already joined don't sit and wait and get bored.
No, I think few students would have joined YouTube link too. Because the people who are talking alone, like we have asked them to join in the meet because it permits only 100.
I see. Okay.
So we have 40 students who have connected in the meet link.
Okay.
And there are 25 students who are there in YouTube link. Shall we start off, sir?
I'm okay. Yeah, we can start. No problem. You want to kick it off or should I kick it off myself? How does it work?
No, we'll start, sir. Just give us 2 minutes. Deepa?
Not about ideas. It is about making ideas happen. A very good morning to one and all joined here for this virtual meet. I welcome all for the webinar on Design Thinking, Critical Thinking and Innovation Design conducted by Hindustan School of Computer Applications. To start the day, I request our beloved head of the department, Dr. A.I. Jayasudha, to welcome the gathering.
Very good morning to all connected here. My pleasure in welcoming you all to this session on design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design. Critical thinking provides a method to explore different situations. Innovative thinking skills, it is about creativity and flexibility. It is the ability to come up with new ideas and novel approaches to problems. As technology moves fast, our ability to be flexible and to adapt to changes is crucial if we really want to face success. My morning wishes and my wholehearted welcome to our speaker of the day, Mr. Sukumar Rajagopal, founder and CEO of Tiny Magic, CIO and Head of Innovation, Cognizant Technologies, Chennai, our respected CEO, Dr. K. Karunakaran, our team, staff members of the Home Department, staff members of other departments, students of our department and all the other departments. My morning wishes to every one of you, and I welcome you all for this session. I request the participants to make this session highly interactive and make use of the resources. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Over to you, Nirmala. No, unmute.
Yeah. I take the opportunity of introducing the chief guest of the day, Mr. Sukumar Rajagopal, founder and CEO, Tiny Magic, CIO and Head of Innovation, Cognizant Technology Solutions, Chennai. Mr. Sukumar has completed his BE Honours Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Birla Institute of Technology and Science, Pilani. He has completed his Executive Development Program from the Wharton School, Pennsylvania. 32 plus years of experience in the IT service industry. A digital transformation and behavior transformation accelerated startup called Tiny Magic with 3 co-founders since February 2015. He left Cognizant in April 2014 after nearly 19 years, where he served as Senior Vice President, Global Chief Information Officer, and Global Head of Innovation. As someone who ran a mentoring program for 16 years, he uses a mentoring style of leadership. The three major transformation initiatives executed by Sukumar's team are the One Cognizant Small Apps Platform program by the IT team, the Managed Innovation program by the Innovation team, and the Cognizant 2.0 Delivery Excellence program by the KM Process Quality teams. All of which have won several industry honors, are the highlights of Sukumar's 8-year CXO stint. In the last 19 years at Cognizant, his team has delivered over 400 million of software projects for Fortune 2000 clients, as well as internal clients with consistently high customer satisfaction. Prior to Cognizant, Mr. Sukumar spent 7 years at Tata Consultancy Services as a software engineer, technical project manager with significant experience in computer-aided software engineering tools. By actively teaching, writing, speaking, and continuously improving through deliberate practice, Sukumar has acquired significant expertise in innovation, knowledge of technology, program, transformative change, and P&L management. Sukumar is an avid blogger, Twitter, a fitness enthusiast, and a travel bug. He researches the Indus Valley civilization in his spare time. He takes keen interest in the community, serving on the board of local charities. The awards received by him are Computer World Premier 100 IT Leaders Honor, Top 100 Social CIO by Huffington Post, EMC Transformers Award, CSO 40 Award for 2014, NASSCOM Next Practices Connector Award. It is a great privilege to welcome you, sir, for this program. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It's an honor to be here and a pleasure to be here to talk to all the people assembled here, both the professors and the students. Let me start off my session with a question. Let me know if you all can see my screen. Yeah?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible.
So let's say that I'm sure you all have studied calculus and it may still be part of your curriculum in the engineering college. And then let's say you want to learn to drive a car. Or if you don't have access to a car, you can think of your learning to drive a motorbike. What is the difference in the learning approach between the two? You can all post on the chat box, unmute yourself. This will be an interactive session. I will be asking a number of questions as we go through this material. And until I get at least one response, we won't be able to move ahead. And if you want to think about this question, right, think about why you are learning it. That might help you get to the answer. Even the teachers, professors, you can also try to answer. This is an interactive session. Did anybody post on the chat box? I'm not able to see.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Because I can't see my screen as well as the chat box.
Okay. One student has posted.
One student has posted that calculus is theoretical and driving is practical.
Yeah.
And one more answer is learning is tougher and exciting initially.
Okay.
And in case of one more answer is driving a bike, you should learn to balance.
Okay. for calculus?
No, nothing was given.
Those are interesting.
And
Thank you for that.
One more is some student from EEE by reading books and by lecture.
By
and-
reading books and by lecture. Okay.
And one more answer is
Okay.
while riding bike, we should consider the width.
Width. Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. I think the first answer, theoretical versus practical, might be where the difference lies, but here is what I found. You study calculus with the intention to understand calculus. And your objective is to solve the calculus problems that are given and get the marks and get the grades and so on. Right? Now, our entire education system, 80 to 90% of it is built on this principle. You have to understand what you are studying. In fact, all the questions that teachers ask in exams and even the job interview that you go to, they might ask some question from what you have studied. The idea is, have you understood it? Whereas driving is learned from the intention of seeking to do things. For example, let's say I give you a 3-day lecture on how the car works. What is the internal combustion engine? How do the gears move? What are the tires made of? But you don't actually drive. But you will pass the exam on what is a car all about and all that. But that would be of no use to drive. Now, for us, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your perspective, 80% of things in life that we are paid for, we make money from, comes from seek to do. Everything, not just make money from, anything that you want to do is through the principle of doing. So you have to learn how to do. Take cooking, you want to make a dish. You don't have to learn how the ingredients are made, what is the physics and chemistry behind cooking. None of that you need to know. You need to know how to follow a recipe and get it done. Put the salt and spices in the correct measure, heat it at the correct level. That's all you need to do. So there is a fundamental difference in learning approaches that we follow. Now this session I am going to do, if the best benefit you are going to get from if you approach it from seeking to do. We have split this session into 2 parts. Today we are going to do 2 hours. On February 4th, another 2 hours. Today you are going to learn the technique and think about the technique from how do I practice it. You may or may not be able to understand everything that I'm saying. That's okay, but try it out. And there are tools that I'm going to give you that will make it easier for you to try out what we are talking about. So as we go through this session, remember that this is like learning to drive, not calculus. Now, the other problem that I noticed with calculus, which I have experienced myself as well, once you solve your first calculus problem, right, you feel so good. Wow, this is very nice. And that's it. Whether you applied calculus in your life, nobody cares. I am yet to apply calculus in my life. I'm 53 years old. Whereas in the seeking to do, you should switch your mind to derive that happiness only after you have done it. Yeah, only when you drive your car on the street and go somewhere, there is a special kind of joy you get, which you can't get by simply understanding what driving is about. So you have to learn to switch your mind from being just happy with understanding things by saying I'm going to be happy only when I do stuff. Because only in the doing of stuff, your entire life is going to run. In fact, nothing in your life you will receive once you pass out of college because you understood something. Yeah, this might be a bit hard to digest for you at this age. I wish somebody had told me this when I was in college, but I can tell you 99% of things that you will do in your life is only because you can do things, not because you understand things well. So understanding by itself is not that useful when you actually lead your real life. So now let's start our session. This session is called Extreme Pivot, and we, as the introduction said, we are a company that helps organizations. We don't actually work with educational institutions, but we can help any organization execute digital transformation. We call this method extreme pivot. This is one of the methods that we have developed. There are a number of methods we have developed for digital transformation, which is inspired from many other disciplines such as design thinking, jobs to be done, other breakthrough innovation methods like trees and so on. We have tried to simplify it again because we want to seek to do. How can I design the concept in such a way that you can get to doing something very quickly? As you do, you learn. As you do, you learn. As you do, you learn. And you keep on going, and one day you produce magic. So I want to run a video. I don't know if I can do that, ma'am. Will they be able to hear the video if I run it?
Let's give it a try. So you please play your video, sir. It should be audible.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear the sound?
No, the sound, we don't get the sound.
Can you hear the video sound when I played it?
No, we were able to just see the video, sir. We did not get to get sound.
Okay, let me try one more.
Yeah.
What? Yeah? Okay, great.
Yes.
No. It's just construction. Yeah, that's all. No. I'm not driving.
Are you okay?
Yeah, you?
I'm good.
Oh, no, not you. Listen, I'm gonna have to call my agent. I'm gonna get right back to you.
Mr. Burton, this is Insure Corp. We've received sensor data that indicates you were in an accident. Are you injured in any way?
I'm not injured, no.
Is anyone else injured?
I don't believe so.
Okay, where's my agent's number?
We have pinpointed your location and we are showing your car is not drivable. So we are dispatching an Uber car to take you to your destination.
That would be great.
I'm pressing 1. English. ENGLI. English.
May we give your coordinates to our appraiser drone to perform the appraisal?
Absolutely.
We have received the photos, assessed the damage, authorized the repair, selected a qualified repair facility, and have dispatched a tow truck to take your vehicle to that facility.
Perfect.
Yes, hi, this is... Yes. Oh.
We have looked up the other vehicle's insurance, transmitted the appropriate data to create the claim, and filed the California SR1 accident report. Can you confirm the information is correct on your phone, then hit the accept button?
I'll check it right now. Okay, all done.
Thank you. Your Uber car is arriving now.
I see it coming.
Accident, not payment. Accident.
Your tow truck should be there now. Don't forget to leave your keys in the vehicle. Thank you for using Insure Corp, powered by Pivotal Labs.
So how much of the technology is already there? On the text box. Like last time, ma'am, somebody has to read it out to me.
Mine is
Yeah, sure. Sorry?
no. I'm waiting to get the responses, sir.
Okay, no problem.
My response is this sort of system we don't have it in our country as of now.
That is true, but I'm saying the technologies that they have used, are they there already?
There is one answer. The student has given as AI assistant,
Yeah,
and one more is IoT based. One more answer is IoT based,
yeah.
and there is one more answer. AI is the key concept over here.
Mm-hmm.
And one more answer is we can see these in Tesla cars.
Some of it, yeah. Yeah, good.
And one is that we are 10 to 15 years ahead. They are ahead of our country.
Yeah, that's true. So the thing is, this is actually a demo video. They are not representing any real life scenario. This is their imagination. But the beauty is, all the technologies they have used are already available. Now, this drone bit, I think, has been added for drama purposes, just to make it look better. Now, you can actually take a picture of the accident and your car with your camera and just upload, and it will assess the damage and then pay the claim. That kind of systems have already been made available in many parts of the world. India, I'm not yet sure, but many countries. The point I'm making is that you don't have to invent any new technology to do something like this, right? So you have to rethink how a particular problem is being solved. So this is what we are going to learn today. Can anybody say what is the picture here? You can tell it's black and white. They are probably inaugurating something. Can anybody guess what are they doing? And you have to get to your keyboard quickly and answer it fast. Otherwise, we won't get through this session. What are they inaugurating? It's likely many of you, the students especially, might not have been born. Yeah.
Some says it is ATM reopening cash dispenser.
Correct. Very nice. Good job. So this is
ATM cash dispensing machine.
correct. Very nice. Good guess. So this is the first ever ATM from June 27, 1967. This is rolled out in a suburb of London by Barclays Bank. Right. So this is the first ever ATM, and it took, by the time ATMs came to India in the early 90s, right? Much later. But interestingly, I found another bank. This Barclays thing is in the UK. There's another bank which had tested an ATM in the year 1939. Can anybody guess which bank it is? It is a bank that operates in India too. It's a very big bank. Very famous bank as well. If you're looking for a hint, it starts with the letter C.
No.
Sorry?
The some says Citibank.
Correct. Citibank. Very good. Good job. So Citibank tested the ATM in the year 1939 in the suburb in the suburb of a city called Cincinnati in the state of Ohio. Interestingly enough, 6 months later they shut it down, saying there is no demand for it. So they had the revolution within their hands, but they let it slip away. Had they persisted with it, they might have developed a different kind of stranglehold on the banking industry. It took another 30 years for the Barclays machine to become popular, and the rest is history. Now, what are the barriers to transformation? let's say that Hindustan Computer Engineering Institute, you all want to transform yourself, right? What are the barriers to transformation? What prevents us from doing transformation within this university? This is generally true of anything, but let's think, since we are in this university, we'll talk about what are the barriers to transformation for this university.
So few says illiteracy, one says cost and material,
Okay.
requires certain knowledge,
Okay.
sticking to old comfortable methods,
Very nice. Sticking to old comfortable methods. Yeah.
willingness,
Willingness to change. Yeah.
run short of time,
Run short of time. Okay.
inability to experiment quickly,
Inability to experiment quickly. Very nice.
adapting to new challenges,
Adapting to new challenges is hard. Yeah. Nice. Very nice.
corruption,
Sorry, what was the last one?
corruption,
Corruption. Oh,
and let go of old outdated syllabus,
let go of old outdated syllabus. I see.
new modern technologies to be followed.
Okay, that's good, man.
Yes, sir. So many things that is coming in. Lack of talent, not trying to transform, coming out of comfort zone, perseverance.
Very nice. Very nice. Awesome. So we will see. Now, I kind of torture myself constantly about why I didn't come up with Uber. Now, it's very interesting, right? What did Uber do? We already had Google Maps. We already had mobile phones. Our mobile phones already had GPS. Payment gateways were already there. App stores were already there. Social media was already there. What exactly did Uber come up with? I was the global CIO of Cognizant, as my introduction said. I had several thousand people in my department. Had I come up with the idea, we used to transport at that time 25,000 associates to their office to be on time for service level agreement based jobs where you had to show up at a particular time. Had I come up with this idea, we could have built the first version of it pretty quickly, right? It's just once you understand this, the idea, the technology is pretty simple because it's all pre-existing. Like this insurance of the future example we saw. How to think like that is the problem. The actual technology is not a problem. So why didn't I come up with it, right? I continue to torture myself with this question. Since you all didn't come up with it either, you can also torture yourself with the same question. Now let's do an experiment, right? I know many of you are very, very young. You're in the university, but for the sake of this experiment, imagine that tomorrow morning you open the door to your house and you see a newborn baby like that screaming its guts out. It's screaming, it's crying. What is the first thing you will do? This is the very first thing. As soon as you spot the baby, what you will do?
We'll try to pacify, convince.
Try to pacify. Are there any other options? Pick up the baby and try to pacify it. Maybe if you have access to baby food, you can give it, maybe because it's hungry. Most likely reason why babies cry because they are hungry. There is also an option to shut the door and go back to sleep, correct? I am not required to take care of some random baby that appeared in my doorstep, am I? But then no human being will take that step. They will always pick up the baby, check what happened, why is the baby crying, let's calm it down, and then see, should I call the police? Is that a neighbor's baby? What should I do? That brings us to a very interesting concept from cognitive psychology, which is called fault mode versus responsibility mode. It is not my fault that the baby showed up at my door, but I take responsibility for it. Now, unfortunately for us human beings, the default mode of operation for us is fault mode. We have to consciously shift ourselves into responsibility mode. Now, let me offer up some evidence towards that. All the barriers to transformation that you all came up with a few minutes ago, are they a product of fault mode thinking or responsibility mode thinking?
Nirmala, you read out.
Sir, they give the answer as fault mode.
Exactly. Exactly. So all those responses are fault mode. So if we want to do transformation, the first thing is to adopt a responsibility mode. Responsibility, any of us, right? We take responsibility for our customers' experience. And in this case, the customers are the students, teachers, students, parents who pay the bills, whatever, right? But you have to first take responsibility that, yeah, I am responsible for the situation. I will transform it. Then only you can even start. Then why didn't I not come up with Uber? Because I didn't think that solving the taxi industry problem is my responsibility. It's not my job. Which means what? Nobody takes responsibility, nobody solves the problem. Whereas innovators come in, take a look at the situation, they take responsibility for it and they fix it. That's why they are talked about. That is why Uber is a world-changing innovation. So the first step is to take responsibility. Let's take one more example. It has been announced. Sudha ma'am, when was this session announced? A week ago, the time?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. A week ago, it was announced that it was going to start at 10:30 a.m. today. Now, not all of you attending, many of you didn't show up at 10:30 a.m. Now, if I ask you why, you might say, oh, I didn't, that link was not clicking for me. My internet was problem. Right? This is the new COVID era fault mode thinking. In the real world, when this session was happening in person, I was in your university, the session was starting at 10:30. Many people will still come late. And if you ask them why, they will say, oh, there is traffic or some such thing. And in fact, I don't know. I have been to many places in the globe. I have lived abroad. I have not been to a single global city where traffic is not an issue. Whereas people who are in responsibility mode will start earlier. They know 10:30. Start testing that link at 10:20. Why are you testing that link at 10:31 and find that it is not working? So it is super important for you to shift to responsibility mode. Otherwise, you can't solve anything. In fact, the problem itself, you won't be able to spot. Okay, so now we have moved into responsibility mode. Now we want to start the transformation. Will we start with a big idea or a big problem? Big idea, okay. Anybody else?
Many says big idea, few says big problem. Small problem with big idea.
Okay, very good. So the people voted for the big problem are the correct people.
Oh, many have told big problem, sir.
Very nice. That's good. Because it took me a long time in my journey as an innovator, teacher of innovation, researcher of innovation, that you should go after problems and not ideas. Many of my failures came because I was chasing the big idea. It took me a while to understand. Now it appears you all have that wisdom very early in your age, which is good. So you have to go after big problem. Big idea will lead to failure. Now let's see. We are now going down the path of big problem. So we shifted to responsibility mode from fault mode. We have chosen to go after the problem. What are your 3 big problems? Whatever is top of mind. It can be personal, professional, anything. Anything, any top of mind.
So proper planning.
Proper planning. Okay.
One says misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding. Okay.
Cost, improper guidance, may God's will. Financial problem.
Financial problem. Okay. Let's do one
Colleges,
more.
it seems colleges are not in physical.
Physical mode.
Colleges are not in physical mode.
That is a big problem. College is not in physical mode. Okay. No problem. This is good enough to start. The problem is that, and I have done this particular experiment with people across the globe, from every level in the company, from the junior most to the chairpersons of the boards of directors and so on. When we are asked problem, right, we tend to think of objectives. For example, why are you not able to plan properly? What is preventing you from planning properly? There may be the problem there. College is not in physical mode. So your objective is colleges should be in physical mode. Right? What is preventing colleges from not being in physical mode? So what we tend to do is we tend to get confused between objectives and problems. And objectives are tip of the iceberg. The problem is actually hidden, which is why we can't solve these kinds of problems that easily. Financial problem, right? I wish it will be nice if I have access to some bank account and whenever I need money, I have money in that account, right? That will solve my financial problem. But then a financial problem can never be solved like that. So you have to understand what are you trying to do, how much does it cost, and how do you get that access to the money that is required to solve that problem. Then you may be able to figure out something. So this confusion exists. And why does it matter for innovation? I'll give you an example. I was in America for 10 years as part of Cognizant. I was the head of manufacturing and logistics in North America. I had $100 million P&L. My target would go up 30%. This is the Cognizant of yore when the growth rates were also very high. So I would get a target 30-40% higher than previous year. Now, as the practice said, I'm also in charge of sales, revenue, all that, as well as profitability, but revenue targets are super important. My bonus and everything was tied to revenues. So if you are in my shoes, you have $100 million target which went up by 30%, 40%. What are some ideas that you can generate? I know you may not have sales background and things like that, but this is mainly common sense. What you will do?
So one says expand the market.
Expand the market. Very good.
Focus on more sales.
Focus on more sales. Very good.
And one says they want the question once again, sir.
The question is, if your sales target went up by 30% from 100 million to 130 million, what are some ideas that you can execute on?
Promoting the products.
Promoting the products, which is more marketing, sales. Yeah, very good.
Give offer to our products.
Give offers to your products. Okay. Yeah. Discount, whatever, promotion.
Increase marketing, providing offers.
Yeah, very nice.
More focusing on marketing techniques, customer
Very nice.
satisfaction check and marketing and new launches. Try
Very nice.
giving more involvement about production quality and marketing.
Production quality and marketing. Very nice.
New products.
New products. Very nice. This is impressive. So what did I do? I was not as smart as you all are. So what I did was I hired more salespeople. I put what in America they call more feet on the street. So we sold more and we somehow made the target. Now, the problem with this generating ideas from the big objectives is you generate routine ideas or tip of the iceberg ideas. The bottom of the iceberg idea would have been, can I help my team find customer problems better? Because if I solve customer problems better, I can get more revenue, right? So revenue is a byproduct of my ability to solve customer problems. I didn't know that. So the problem is you should not start generating ideas from the objective level. So we have shifted to responsibility mode. We decided to go down the problem of route of finding problems. This trap of launching programs after big objectives, because people start generating ideas from that level and you only generate commonplace or routine ideas, which means we have to go to something we call performance undersupply. This is a new phrase we have to coin. Okay, it's the bottom of the iceberg thing. Now let's go back to the automated teller machine example. And again, this experiment I've done the world over. Now you are all very young, so it's going to be a hard thing for you all to imagine. But imagine a time when there was no automated teller machine. And if you are doing banking during that time, what problems would you think you would have encountered? Now this is a difficult imagination to have. I have been through it. I'm 53 years old. I vividly remember what it was doing banking before the arrival of ATM. For you all, you have to imagine. Imagine and tell me what problem you would have noticed.
It would take a lot of time for money transactions.
Takes a lot of time. There was queues,
Yeah,
token system. Yeah,
lot of time in bank to withdraw.
lot of time spent in bank to withdraw, correct?
Taking money from the bank will be a real big task.
Yes.
Less money, less productivity.
Less money, less productivity, okay.
You can't make payments at night.
You can't make payments at night. Yeah, interesting.
Immediate access to money would be delayed.
Immediate access to money is delayed. Very good. Now, you're all young, right? So you're still not able to look away from the features you got from the modern banking system, which is okay. I can remember, right? I'm standing in a queue in the bank. My turn came and the clerk went for a lunch break. So I had to wait for 1 hour until the clerk came back to get my cash. Things like that would routinely happen. These are the problems that we notice. Now, James Shepard Barron, the guy who built the Barclays Bank ATM, noticed the problem that none of us noticed, which is on Sunday, I cannot get cash. It's my account, it's my money, but I can't get access to it because the bank is closed. This is performance undersupply. It's everywhere. It's not a problem. Now, you are all very young, but you know the cab industry before Uber and Ola came. If somebody had asked you what is the problem, you wouldn't have said the problem that Uber and Ola solved. We were happy dancing in the middle of the street to catch the cab or keep calling the cab company by the phone. We didn't see a problem with that. So this is why this notion of performance undersupply has come. This is a concept that we have coined. It's a registered trademark of Tiny Magic. This concept doesn't exist. You can't Google it. Yeah, our site will come up. When we Googled it for the first time, now no results will come for performance undersupply. So performance undersupply is the bottom of the iceberg phenomenon. So what happened? I can't get cash on Sunday. So what do? I borrow from a friend if there is an emergency and return it to them when the bank opens, or I plan ahead, collect the cash beforehand and keep it with me. So I've adjusted my life according to how the banking industry works. So in innovation, there is this notion that we have to find the unstated problem of customers. Those are performance undersupplies, where the customer doesn't even perceive that to be a problem. And there are a number of such. So I'll give you one example which is not yet solved. You can all solve it with your creative spirit if you want to. Now you're all very young, so I don't know if you've all consulted a doctor. Have any of you consulted a doctor without having to wait? Assuming that doctor is very popular, reasonably popular.
No, sir.
Yeah. I have done this across the globe. No human being has raised their hand to this question. Now, is this a problem? It's a performance undersupply. Because what do? You have no choice. You want to see that doctor. And if you went and complained to the doctor will say next patient. Because there's a whole queue of people waiting there. If you don't want to see the doctor, there are plenty more people waiting. So you can leave. So pretty much as a consumer, nothing I can do about this situation, except previously you had to sit in the doctor office and read the worn out magazines from 3 years ago that they have assembled. Now, thanks to the smartphone revolution, I can WhatsApp and Facebook and do whatever. But at the end of the day, we are wasting our time. Our industry does about it. Now, I used to serve on the board of a hospital network, right? I spoke to administrators and they said, wait, we can't exactly predict when the... Typically, they are in fault mode thinking. They are not worried because their doctor's time is more important than the patient's time. Simple. So if you all have any entrepreneurial thing in you and you like healthcare, maybe you can solve this problem. If you can solve this problem, you can take over the world much like what Uber has done. Now we want to create big impact, right? So should we create a big impact or should we create a big solution or a small solution for big impact? What would you favor?
Small solution for a big impact, sir.
Small solution for a big impact. Okay, that's very creative. Now, most
Big
people, yeah, sorry.
Some says big solution.
Big solution, yeah. So the traditional thinking is that for us to create big impact, we need big solution, right? It works something like this. We all think that we have this idea that we are going to do something world changing. You start something, boom, it delivers the big impact and you're done. Now, unfortunately, I can tell you, as a researcher into the field of innovation and an innovator myself, there is not a single innovation that has done this. If you can show me any example, I'm willing to stand corrected. But there is not a single example of an innovation that went from T0 start to boom, big impact. Never in the history of humankind. So don't do that. So what we do in our program, we call it the High Poha program, is you do a zoom in pivot or a micro transformation. So the reality unfolds like this slowly. And then there is an invisibility cloak beyond which you can't see when you are here. So as you advance in the micro transformation, you start to see past this invisibility cloak. And you execute what we call as the zoom out or the macro transformation, and you finally hit the promised land. If you trace the trajectory of any innovation, impactful innovation in the world, they have followed this trajectory and not this. So abandon the idea that you have to create something big to start off with. Somebody said, small solution, big impact. Instead of that, you can think of small solution, micro transformation. That is, I transform one small thing. And I now have evidence of my approach and I slowly move. Now, what happened with Citibank? Probably expecting this with their ATM. They rolled out one ATM and they think, boom. So they canceled the project in 6 months. Whereas Barclays persisted with it, which is why we have the ATM revolution. Countries like even India, which didn't invent any such thing, we have access to that technology. So it takes time and effort and persistence. If you are like, oh, boom, Tomorrow I want a transformation, you will fail. And not only that, the big solution also means you need a lot of money. How many of you have a big budget? Does Hindustan Institute have a big budget, Sudha ma'am, that we can give you 5 crore rupees to tackle your transformation project? Will you get that kind of budget?
Never.
Never. Is it possible for you to get 5 lakh rupees of budget for a transformation project?
Possible.
Possible. Okay. So that's where that's all you have. That's how you should start. With 5 lakhs, can I produce a micro transformation? Prove to management that this is big and it has potential, and then they will invest money. Nobody in the right mind, especially in India, will start 5 crore investment without any evidence. So this is the thing, zoom in, zoom out. So where do we zoom in? Let's try to understand that. You are all with me so far? Any questions? So let's just recap, right? We shifted to responsibility mode. We discarded the idea of going after a big idea. We went after a big problem, but then we understood that we are doing the big objective typically. We don't want to do that. Now we want to avoid the big solution also. We want to go to a small solution, zoom in, pivot, micro transformation. Now the question is, or what is this zoom in? For that, we have to understand this concept. So again, I need some experiment and responses here. Now you're all young, but you all remember the taxi industry before Uber came out. How much is the percentage change in the customer experience? And in Coimbatore, do we have Uber? I think we have Uber and Ola, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you can imagine the change as a customer. How much has the customer experience changed? Is it 10% change, 20% change, 30% change, like that? And this, again, those of you that are young may not even have seen these phones. All these were smartphones before the iPhone came along, and now you can see all of them had the keyboards. And I used to use this BlackBerry device, the BlackBerry Pearl, which Cognizant had given to all the senior execs. So you have to imagine this, because likely you have all not used these keyboard-based smartphones. How much is the percentage change? Imagine the phone from June 2007. This is the first iPhone, the first touch-based smartphone. So how much is the percentage? So I need 2 numbers from some of you. Before Uber, after Uber, before iPhone, after iPhone, how much is the percentage change? I need 2 numbers. And this is just a ballpark estimate, right? Don't give me 22.3%. That's not what I'm looking for.
So one response is 20 to 80%.
20 to 80%. Okay. That's good.
One student says from civil, like before Uber, 70%.
70%. Okay. Let's wait for a few more responses and I will give you my answer.
Yes. $30 to 70%.
30 to 70%. Okay.
90% change after iPhone.
90% changed. Okay. Very nice.
50 to 90%.
50 to 90%. That's good. Okay, that's good. So, what I have seen, again, an experiment I've carried out across the world, people approach it from 2 perspectives. One is what has really changed. The other is what is the real impact that these companies have caused. Now, when you think about it from that perspective, what did Uber change? They changed the ride. If you do the customer journey of a taxi cab, they changed the ride hailing step, which is catching the cab. They used the GPS position of the customer and the taxi and triangulated the closest cab and arranged it for you. Now, because they used the GPS position, the ride fare calculation was also easy. So I'll give you an example. In Chennai, a popular company called Fast Track. I don't know if that operates in Coimbatore. They are still around. Sometimes I find myself in a Fast Track car with a Fast Track driver, but on Uber. So what has changed? So you don't have to change the entire taxi journey because most of the journey is still the same. They only change the ride hailing step and the ride fare calculation step. That's it. Now, what did the iPhone change? Since you all may not be familiar, I will tell you. BlackBerry was very famous for its email capability. So that it did. It can do SMS, it can do phone call. It had a rudimentary browser. It had an MP3 player and a rudimentary camera. When iPhone came out in the year 2007, June, it only did these 6 things. In fact, it couldn't even cut paste. So what changed? The keyboard to touch. So if you look at the journeys, email journey, phone journey, everywhere, the keyboard was getting in the way. That was their hypothesis. And they changed that to a touch screen and the rest is history. So you don't have to do massive change to get massive impact. So some of you that said small solution, big impact, it gets at this. And to prove that, we are going to learn a metaphor, a story that happened. It's not a story, it's a real incident that happened during World War II in America. During World War II, the Allies, led by United States of America, used to take a large aircraft carrier with fighter bombers and bomb Germany. This was their strategy. Now they landed into a new problem. As the aircraft carrier starts becoming bigger and bigger, the rudder, right, this yellow color part, which helps you turn the direction of the ship, became as big, proportionately as big as the aircraft carrier. Now the energy supplied by the engines was not enough to turn the rudder quickly. Hours for the ship to change course. Situation like World War II, where the Germans have U-boats and torpedoes and things like that, an aircraft carrier laden with bombers, taking several hours to turn direction is a liability. Industry gets stuck. They invite a brilliant physicist by name Buckminster Fuller. And he comes up with a new device that he called trim tab. It's a small titanium device that sits on top of the rudder. You can see this black color thing. That uses the physics of it is just beautiful. You can Google and read more about it. It uses the energy of the ocean's currents and waves to shift the rudder within a few minutes without any energy or very little energy expended. So once the rudder shifts, the ship immediately changes course. So a massive problem was solved. So this proves Peter Senge's hypothesis from 25 years ago that small changes can produce big results, but the highest leverage points are least obvious. We call that the trim tab, named after Buckminster Fuller's trim tab. It's a bottom of the iceberg phenomenon. So what did Uber find and what did Steve Jobs find? They are bottom of the iceberg performance under supplies, which are trim tab. You fix them, you get massive impact without having to change the entire system. So now the question is, how do I find the trim tab? For that, we are going to learn a very simple tool called the customer journey map. Some of you might already be familiar. So we are going to do a customer journey here. So let's say that I'm taking you all to a restaurant in Coimbatore. What is the cuisine that you all like? To keep it simple, let's say that we are going to go for a South Indian cuisine and we are going to go to Annapurna, the most famous restaurant chain in Coimbatore. So we've decided on the cuisine. We have looked for the restaurant. Maybe we'll all have to drive in a bus because there are probably 100 people on this call. We all go, park the bus. We probably have to wait because that many seats need to be arranged. So we have into step 5. What are the next things that will happen? Can people post on the chat box step 6, step 7, and so on?
will wait for the waiter to get served, order the food, giving the orders,
Correct.
order their needs,
Okay.
have to go through the menu card,
Yeah.
wait for the food to be prepared,
Wait for the food to be prepared. Yeah. Important.
will have to give the orders,
Yeah.
waiting for the waiter to come and get the order,
Waiting for the waiter to get the order. Yeah.
sit in the chair,
Sit in the chair. You would have done that first. Yeah.
order the food,
Yeah.
take the seat, order the food, wait for the food, eat, wait for the menu,
Wait
check
for.
menu,
Yeah.
wash hand,
Okay.
look for a perfect seat.
Okay.
We
That's
have to
very good.
decide which one healthy and order the food.
Yeah, that's good. So it works something like this. More or less, you got it right. Wait to be seated. After sitting, wait for the menu. Decide on the order the main course. Wait for the food. While waiting, maybe we will all be chit-chatting, eat the food. Then maybe we want to order dessert, so we get the waiter's attention one more time. Order the dessert, eat the dessert. Then ask for the bill, right, or the check. In America, they call it check. I don't know why. You ask for the bill, and then you pay the bill using credit card or cash, depending on what you are doing. Some restaurants ask for feedback. We all get into the car or bus and go back. Right? So this is the customer journey. Now, any guesses why I chose a restaurant? I could have used any example.
Because everyone would have gone through this journey.
Everyone would have gone through it. That is one reason. There's actually a very important reason that may not be obvious.
Waiting.
Waiting. No. That is there in most journeys, right? Why did I choose this industry, this particular journey?
Because restaurants have floating people.
Restaurants are floating people. No. What do you mean by that? But no.
One says planning.
Plan. Okay. Not sure why it's about planning. Response.
One says decide, the other says one of our basic need.
Food is a basic need. Okay. Yeah, all those things are actually true. But the bottom of the iceberg is this. The hint is here, the established wisdom. So the customer journey of an industry represents that industry's established wisdom. So if you go to a sit-down restaurant in any part of the world, the same journey you will get with some minor variations, but more or less the same journey. Why did Uber take over the world? Because we were all hailing cabs in the same way. So the back-end processes may be different. I had in my class once executives from 3 different credit card companies. The journey of applying and getting the credit card and using the credit card is the same for all credit cards. So if you went after the customer journey and come up with an innovation in that, you can literally change the entire industry. But if you went into some backend, for example, in this, let's say I go into the kitchen and try to come up with an innovation there, the way Annapurna organizes the kitchen may be different from how Sri Krishna organizes their kitchen. So, but the customer journey has to be uniform, because otherwise customers will get confused. If every restaurant did their own customer journey, we will find it very difficult to go to restaurants, because every time you have to learn that restaurant's way of working, right? Which is why you have to go after the customer journey. Now we will skip this. This is sort of like the corporate thing. What is the difference between customer journey and process map? So what happens is, I told you performance under supply is a bottom of the iceberg thing, right? It doesn't directly reveal itself. There are 3 signals that we have identified. One is negative emotion, the other is turnaround time, which is obvious. In the restaurant journey that we have gone through, can you tell me in which steps you will get negative emotion or turnaround time issues? In this. Where you will experience that?
So waiting for a bill, wait for food,
Correct.
more time. to wait.
Yeah, all the waits are turnaround time issues. Where will you get negative emotion?
Food without salt.
Correct. There's a quality issue. The taste is not good. The waiter is rude. The service is slow. You have to keep calling the waiter and the waiter doesn't pay attention. All those things can create, the ambience is not nice. The table is dirty. All those things can cause negative emotion. So these two are kind of obvious, right? Any innovation technique would have given you this. What we have is a new thing we call opposes intention. And I'm going to give you an example of that. How many of you have eaten at an Ethiopian cuisine? Any of you in this call?
Can you come again, sir?
Ethiopian cuisine. You know the country Ethiopia, which is in Africa, they have their own cuisine, which is very nice. Have any of you eaten Ethiopian cuisine?
No.
Okay. I am guessing. That's why I am choosing this. Most people haven't had it. So let's say I am taking all of you to an Ethiopian restaurant. Okay. Why would I take you all to an Ethiopian restaurant? What will be my intention?
Taste difference?
Yeah, I want you all to experience a different type of thing, which I enjoy. So I would also all of you like to enjoy. Now let's look at the customer journey and tell me in which step you will face problem. Imagine all of us, 100 of us are in the Ethiopian restaurant. I don't think there is any in Coimbatore, but there is one in Chennai. So maybe we'll all drive over to Chennai and go to this Ethiopian restaurant. So where would you see a problem?
So order main course.
Yes, brilliant. So you don't know what to order. So I'll give you an interesting anecdote that happened to me. First time I went to America, I was like homesick. I wanted to eat some Indian food. So I went to an Indian restaurant. And they had a menu which had a dish which was described like this. Deep fried lentil and rice balls, donuts, soaked in blah sauce. What is this dish? Let me repeat. Deep fried lentil and rice donuts, soaked in blah sauce.
Sambar vadai, sir.
Sambar vadai, exactly. So if anyone can guess from that description that is sambar vadai, life will be different. So in the same way, the Ethiopian restaurant will also have, so if an American went into the Indian restaurant, he'll say the dish sambar vadai. It wouldn't make any sense. That's why they've given this description, which doesn't make any sense either, because you have never eaten it. So in the Ethiopian restaurant also you will have a same problem. For example, I will tell you a name of a dish. It's called Timatim Fit Fit. It will have one description which will make no sense to you. They will have pictures and all that. Still you can't make a decision. Right? So that's the problem. So you don't know how to decide. So now what has happened is we have intuitively found what is the trim tab step, deciding on the order. So what we developed is a tool which we call the performance under supply X-ray. There's an Excel-based tool. We have converted this into an Excel-based tool, which I will point you to at the end of this session, so you can also use that. So basically, you take the steps from here and plot it into this map. So negative emotion, high turnaround time, opposes intention. These are the three swim lanes. And the degree of negative experience is bad, worse, worst. So you can see step number 7 is bad versus worst in all 3 categories. So that is likely to be the trim tab step. So if I solve that problem, I can transform my Ethiopian cuisine experience. You're all with me so far?
Yes, sir.
Basically,
Yes, sir.
this 7 decide on the order is the trim tab step. So now I have found the trim tab step. Now I want to go for a objective. Should I go for an extreme objective or a reasonable objective? Which will lead me to transformation? Extreme being very ambitious. Reasonable is, yeah, I can do it.
Reasonable is the
Reasonable
response.
answer.
If you want transformation, you need to go for extreme objective. So Uber said, I want the car when I want, where I am standing. That is an extreme objective. What did Steve Jobs say? I want a phone with no buttons, which is what led them. So you have to set yourself an extreme objective. Our general tendency is to set a very reasonable objective which doesn't lead to transformative solution. So the reasonable objective I have set is in 5 minutes, I want to decide your order. The entire, all 100 of us will decide our order in 5 minutes. Remember, we have no idea about Ethiopian. So what innovation will you bring? So we know step 7 has to be modified. We are going to zoom in, pivot the step 7. And the extreme objective is within 5 minutes, I need to decide the order. Okay. So let's see a video here. So watch this.
Answers given are, sir, can I, sir?
Answer.
Yeah, sir, video clip of food served.
Video. Okay.
Listing foods based on taste like sweet, hot, etc.
Nice.
The food orders could be translated.
Yeah.
Permit to kitchen.
Yeah.
About the food with menu.
We are doing digital transformation, right? So the solution has to be digital.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I have some idea for our interest, right? To learn how this thing works. So let's watch this video. Regular example of a holographic display seen in this video.
We are not able to see the video.
So pretty easy. You can't hear the video?
Want you to.
No, we can
we
hear
are able to
it.
hear it. We are not.
Screen, sir.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, now, yes, sir, we are getting it.
Yeah, let's see. Regular example. Can you hear the sound?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Of a holographic display as you are seeing in this video. So pretty easily you can see the dimensions of the actual food itself in 3D or holographic. So this is pretty cool, right? Now you might think that this is expensive to. So now that you have this holographic idea, can you think of a different way of doing this without investing in these expensive devices? What is a frugal way of doing it?
Using mobile phones, sir.
Very good. What in a, I need a specific technology in the mobile phone that you can use. Mobile phone is just too generic an answer.
Yeah, there is an answer like augmented reality.
Brilliant. Very good. Whoever
Artificial intelligence.
No, the student is from computer science.
Student has.
Nice. AR is the answer. for a restaurant owner. So is there a cheaper way of doing this or less expensive way of doing this?
There are many students who have specified AR and AI.
That is called, sorry?
There are many students who have specified as AR and AI.
Brilliant. It's just you need AR, yeah. Augmented reality, which is available on your smartphone.
Is a reality, augmented reality. It's better than a photo. The entire range of food that you see in Menu AR is a three-dimensional image of the real dishes. You can see the texture of the products, their ingredients, and size.
It is the same thing, but now there is no device required and every consumer can use the smartphone they're already carrying and look at the menu in 3D. So this is how we do the extreme pivot and digitally transform step number 7. So this is what you can do, right? So let's go back into this deck. Can you all hear me and see my deck still?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have done the zoom in. We have done the first one, the second one we have done. Now let's do some more zoom in pivot examples so that it becomes clear. Zoom in pivot is nothing but going into a particular step and creating an extreme objective. Find the trim tab step, set an extreme objective and change the approach. Basically, pivot is nothing but changing the approach. Now let's take Amazon.com from the year 1997 when they first launched. What product did they start with? Any guesses?
Books.
Books. Now you have to imagine. See, this is where your ability to learn from other innovators comes. So what was the performance under supply in the book industry before Amazon.com was launched? If you have ever bought books from a physical store, you would know. You might have faced this problem. Any guesses?
Availability of books that we want.
Excellent. So the book that you are looking for is not available. What did you do then? Assuming Amazon or Flipkart was not there. Anybody remember what is the process?
We have to write a letter to the publisher and get the book done, sir.
You don't do it that way. You write a requisition slip to the bookstore who will then send it to the publisher or distributor, get it inside then they will call you saying your book is there and you can take it. Now, did we see a problem with that?
Yes.
We did not. Because if we did, we would have invented Amazon.com. The problem is, so there is a performance under supply. I as a fanatic of books, I have bought so many books through that requisition slip. In America, in Barnes and Noble, in many of the bookstores. I never thought that was a problem because that's how the book industry operates. Same thing like the ATM, same thing like the taxi, same thing like the smartphone. So the performance under supply is bottom of the iceberg. It's there. The trim tab was what? Did they change anything about the book itself? No. I ordered my first book in Amazon. I went to the thing, click the button, pay, swipe my credit card. 2 days later, it was in my house. Wow. But did they change anything about the book itself? No. They changed the ordering step, which was the trim tab step in pivot. And the rest is history. Now, there are many examples. So I want to cover another one called Zappos. This is another important example. Anybody knows what Zappos do? Can you guess? I don't think Zappos is there in India. It's an American online service. Anybody knows? Don't Google it. Tell me if you know off the top of your head what does Zappos do.
As of now, no guesses from students.
Okay,
Shoes.
so
Somebody says shoes.
correct. They sell shoes.
Footwears.
Correct. Now, if you have bought shoes, and I think most of us would have bought shoes only from a physical store, what is the problem you would have noticed?
Fitting of the size, sir.
Size, correct. There's a beautiful shoe on display. I go inside, Sir, in your size, it's not available. Brilliant. Now, what do I do? I go to the next store, say some other thing I like, same problem. So the lack of size and things to suit, same problem. It's a performance under supply. Because all of us have noticed that. What did we do about it? But the founders of Zappos created Zappos and solved the problem. Why I think this is important is because by the time Zappos started, Amazon.com was in every category but shoes. So the richest man in the universe, Jeffrey Bezos, the smartest, brilliantest, geniusest, richest person, didn't see the opportunity with shoes, but the Zappos guy spotted it. Now, for that privilege, Bezos spent $2 billion and acquired Zappos. Zappos is part of Amazon now. So, the point I'm making is there is no system which does not have performance under supply. In fact, if you show me such a system, I will fly you business class to your most favorite restaurant in any part of the world and buy you lunch or dinner. It's just not possible. Can anybody guess why there cannot be a system without performance under supply? Many of you, I'm told, are from computer science or related disciplines. Why am I so sure? I wouldn't make such a bet if I'm not very sure about it. Why is this true?
Sir, people want to repeat the question.
The question is, how am I so sure that any system has performance under supply in it? How can I be so sure that I will be willing to bet this thing, flying you business class to any restaurant in the world will cost me, say, $20,000. Why would I bet that kind of money if I'm not so sure?
Sir, can I give a try?
Yeah.
Because moving from fault mode to responsibility mode is less.
That is true, but there is an even more foundational issue. Yes, that's true. That's also part of the problem, but there is a real theoretical issue.
So one student says, we don't know such a small issues and we get used to it.
Yeah, that is right. But the point is this. So many of you from software, let me ask you guys this question. Can you build a software with no bugs?
No.
Why not? Why can't you build a software which has no bugs?
Some students say it's impossible.
Yeah, I understand. It is impossible. The question is why? Why is it impossible?
Because we're humans, that's what he says.
Exactly. We are humans. And because we are humans, what is the quality we have? We are fallible beings. We are not gods.
They say to error is
human.
To err is human.
Brilliant. Exactly. So human beings cannot design a system or a process or anything which is 100% perfect, that there is no performance under supply in it. It is theoretically impossible. It's not possible. So you can find opportunity, which means what? There is so much opportunity in the world that there is no end for it. So be inspired that you can spot your own problem and solve it. Like ma'am said, you have to shift the responsibility mode. There are many examples. We'll skip some of this in the interest of time. So I shifted to responsibility mode. I shifted to finding the problem. I avoided the trap of falling into the objectives. I found the trim tab. I set an extreme objective. I now zoom in pivot. So now I produced a micro transformation. Now I want to scale it. Because I want to do big things, right? I want to impact the world. Like some of you young people in the room may be having in your mind. I want to change the world. I hope some of you have that kind of ambition. We need that in this country more than any other country. We need that type of ambition. Like, so to scale, what I suggest is we do this thing we call the zoom in.
Let me unmute your mic.
Anybody saying something to me? Sorry.
No, sir. No, sir. Let's carry on.
Yeah. So what the zoom out pivot is, so you do a zoom in and zoom out, and remember the digital camera, right? The digital camera can zoom in and zoom out. It can also pan and tilt. So there are techniques associated with that too, but that's not part of the discussion today. Zoom in and zoom out. So here we absorb many customer journeys into this product. And the best example of that is the smartphone that you have in your pocket. In July 2000, so June 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone. In July 2008, iOS introduced a new innovation. That was actually the game changer for the smartphone industry. Can anybody guess what was that?
Android.
Android was not introduced by Apple. It was introduced by Google. Apple introduced a new thing in July 2008.
iOS.
iOS is what they started with. When iPhone launched, iOS launched with it.
They said USB ports.
USB port was, they used a lightning port, of course. iPhone doesn't have a USB port even now.
View the web as it is.
Sorry?
No, to view the web as it is rather than a watered down mobile version. No, I don't get it clearly.
No, that was already there. So in the June 2007 product, Safari was already there. So you could browse the web.
Voice assistant.
That came the 4th or 5th edition.
Siri is one answer, sir.
That's what the voice assistant is Siri. That came in the 5th or 6th year of the product.
Camera.
Camera was always there. The selfie camera was introduced later, but the front facing camera was there.
Security features.
I don't think so. No. Once I say it, it will be obvious. This is so remarkable that this is the reason why we think the smartphone changed the world. Without this, it wouldn't have changed the world. Sorry?
There was answer like touchscreen, fingerprint scanner.
No, fingerprint scanner came, I think, iPhone 5 or 6. 5S, I think. Okay, in the interest of time, I'll tell you the App Store.
Yeah, that was also an answer given, sir.
Very good. So apps,
Yeah.
very nice. Good answer, whoever answered it. The App Store is the answer. July 2008, iOS introduces it. October or November 2008, Android copied that with their Android Play Store. Anyway, Android is a copy of iOS. It's just whatever iOS does, Android will do. I know some of you are Android fanboys here, but that's just the history. Now, of course, I think Apple copies from Android also. So this now goes back and forth. The point is this. Before the App Store was rolled out, before the smartphone came up, research shows that we were carrying $10,000 worth of devices. Short camera, video camera, voice recorder. So many devices that if we were having them separately, all of them are a free app now on your phone. Recently, about a year or two back, Apple introduced the AR-based measuring tape. So I can actually measure the dimensions of this room. I don't need any other device. Zoom out pivot. Basically, it absorbs various things. So you do in a two-step, zoom in and zoom out. There are many examples of zoom in and zoom out. You can go through this. You have time. So if you look at the diagram that I originally started with, this is the same diagram. Yeah, so trim tab, find extreme objective and go through this. Now, again, you will all agree that Steve Jobs is one of the top innovators of our time. Why is it that iOS did not have the App Store on day one. And the hint is here in this diagram. If he is that smart, how come he is smart? There's no doubt. But how come a smart guy like him didn't think of the App Store on day one? Why did it take them a year to come up with that? Come on, quick, we are going to run out of time.
Clock.
Correct. Explain to me what that is. That is the correct answer, but explain to me how you got there.
You didn't know that problem till that time, sir.
After the iPhone started making waves, the developers reached out to Apple and they said they want to develop their own apps. Apparently, Steve Jobs was highly allergic to that idea because he didn't want people corrupting the iPhone experience. He was resisting. But finally, the Apple executives who are working with Steve Jobs convinced him that they needed some way for the third-party developers. They already had the iTunes store where you could download songs, right, because of the iPod. So it was not a big stretch of imagination to expand the iTunes store to apps. In fact, it was still, the App Store was a category in the iTunes store for the longest time, if you all have observed Apple's trajectory. So that was behind the invisibility cloak. As they got closer to it, they were able to see the promised land. And the introduction of the iPhone's App Store put the zoom out pivot, and that's what reached the stratosphere. Now, because Android copied that same thing, the whole world has access to App Store. So this is how this whole thing works. So now I'm going to end my session with a short video. I'd like you all to watch it carefully. And you have to connect it back to a concept that you heard probably very early in my speech. Let's see how many of you can do that. I don't know why it mutes on our go into. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Let's see if you can hear the sound. Can you hear the sound?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Watch carefully.
Now, here's a challenge. In 1 week's time, you will fill the room that I have given you. The best one wins the kingdom. The queen should give gold to cover the expenses. I know what to do to win the kingdom. And he was proud of himself. My brother is so full. There's plenty of room on the top. He filled the room so well that not even air could pass. And he was happy. The courtiers were concerned. Sire, the third prince has done nothing so far. He still has one more day. And on the 7th day, sir, I have filled the room.
So now you all tell me what is the mistake the first two sons did. It back to a concept that you heard in this session. Is what the third son did. I'm more worried about the mistake the first two sons did.
Sir, may I? Sir, this is the objective, sir. The tip of iceberg strategy was used by the.
Brilliant. Exactly. So the first two sons generated the idea from the objective. Fill the room, so they filled the room. One guy filled the room with cattle, the other guy filled the room with whatever, bales of straw. It is the third son that thought, he looked at what the first two sons did and he thought, okay, this may not be what father wants. And then he questioned whether physically he should fill the room. Once he eliminated that constraint, now that I have said physically you don't need to fill the room, he filled it with light. Now can you fill it with something else?
Sir, like incense stick, we can use something, sir. We can fill the room with the smell.
Incense stick. Air is already there, right? So you can't say I have filled it with air. How will you show that there is air? It's already there anyway. So incense stick is a good idea. I could fill it with smoke. So the point is, the third son didn't spend any gold at all. He took the candle and the matchstick from the kitchen. So there is a fallacy in our thinking that says we need a lot of money. Since Sudha ma'am said she can get 5 lakh rupees of budget, come up with something that needs no more than that. You actually don't need any money. The best innovators start from no money is needed. You get the customers to fund the innovation. Right? You start small and then make it. Zoom in and zoom out. But 5 lakh rupees is, I think, is a reasonable budget to have for a large university like yourself. So come up with something. So that's all I have from my session. So what I will do now is, I will show you a tool. This is the site which is called highpoha.com. Highpoha is the name of our methodology. High performance happily achieved. This site you can bookmark. It has a simple spelling, Highpoha, H-I-P-O-H-A. You can go here and you can go to this session that I did is actually available. The slides are here and videos. You can go to YouTube and watch the entire thing in short. Whichever concept you didn't understand, you can go through it yet again in the form of short videos if you want to. I believe this session is being recorded, so you can go through that also. But it might be too long to follow a 2-hour recording, so you can go to what is the trim tab. Let's say you didn't understand that. You can go through that. So you start with this short video which pulls the whole thing together. You can do that. But the main thing I want you to look at is this thing we call the performance under supply X-ray. This is a Excel tool which you go here and you download. Yeah, download it wherever in your PC. And you open it. You have to click the enable macros. Make sure to click that because we have macros. Now, as an example, I have put this Ethiopian cuisine example here. I guess somebody has changed that. Okay, so what you can do is you can fill the X-ray with your journey. Right, put the customer journey here and then put for each step, right, you can say, I will put the journey here. Let's say I want to mark it red. I can just change it. And if I mark all of it red, it will change the thing here. The trim tab will be automatically calculated. So whichever step is all red is the trim tab step, and that is what you need to focus upon for your Zoom interview. So you can download this, you can look through this and fill it for your problem. Now, ma'am, can you pull up that list, any of you, that the list of problems that you have collected?
So I didn't get your audibility.
All the problems in a spreadsheet, right? Can you?
Yeah, just a minute. I'll do it.
May I, Jayasudha?
If you have, then you can open. Share your screen.
I read it, or you want us to share the screen, sir?
No, you share the screen.
Sharing is easier, so everybody can read it.
Fine.
If you don't mind.
No problem.
Yeah. So let's take okay. So let's take this number 4, online bus pass renewal.
Okay, sir.
Now, the way you worded that problem, the solution is built into it. So what you will do, you will generate tip of the iceberg idea. Oh, bus pass renewal system, I will build one website, mobile app where I will go and do this. That won't be bottom of the iceberg. So what you have to do, first draw the journey of bus pass purchase and renewal. You also have to purchase it, right? Both you have to look at purchase and renewal. Draw the journey into the Pux Excel, find the trim tab, then set an extreme objective. For example, the extreme objective could be, it will be automatically renewed. Why I should come to a system and renew it? Tell me. I am a student in your college. You know that I have to come every month. Why isn't that automatically done? I mean, I'm just asking the question to challenge your thinking. So don't argue with me about how the bus system works. Right? That's just fault mode thinking. The extreme objective is, in fact, I don't want to even say, why will I even apply for a bus pass? Why isn't that given to me automatically? That's the kind of challenge you have to issue to yourself. If you think online bus pass renewal, I bet that all you will come up with is a website with a tortuous journey where the user will go and put that. What is your student ID? Okay, this 15-digit number that you all got, I have to enter. Oh, enter password. Okay, what is my password? Oh, put your credit card number. Oh, UPI pay. You will kill yourself doing that. Whereas the solution might be, why on earth do I need to even apply for a bus pass? Why don't you already know that about me? I'm just asking this question to challenge your thinking process. Yeah. See, live tracking of city buses with seat availability. Again, you guys are getting confused with the solution. You've already decided that you need live tracking of city buses. Why? What is the problem? So you are going from let's first look at the first problem Sudha ma'am put up. The first one, very first one. Yeah, campus. There was one more, no, some exam management or something like that.
Yes, sir.
Seemed to have disappeared. Where is that?
No, we've replaced it, but the other exam management, we already have it. So it was a very old convention problems.
No, we already have system for everything, ma'am. That is true. The point is, performance under supply exists there. Every system we already have. I'm sure there is a way by which your students renew their bus pass. So why do you need a new system? So that way you actually technically don't need any new system. Which is the point of performance under supply. There are existing systems which are not transformative in nature.
Yeah.
So I would put up, so you guys are putting up objectives as problem. Developing communication skill. Why? What is the problem? So that's the problem. Campus navigation, same thing. What is the problem here? So is it that I'm just trying to ask a question? Is it that I am inside the campus? I want to go from here to there. I don't know how to do that. Is that the problem?
No, the problem is with the outsiders. In case the outsider comes, our campus is big, there need to be some guidance for them to have an easy approach to all the blocks.
Very nice. So the problem will be when outsiders come to the campus, they don't know how to go to places.
Okay, fine, got it.
Define it. Now you have to speak to outsiders who come in and find out what exactly do they do and where do they get stuck.
Okay.
So here we have confused ourselves with the solution you have already decided. I will put the indoor positioning. All that may not be needed. I don't know what is needed. So don't presuppose the solution itself.
Okay, sir.
Then there will be no creativity. And you have computer science students, they will hack together one app and then you will have difficulty in convincing all your outsiders to download one new app that after 3 months doesn't work. Once that student graduated and went out of the college, that is the end of that app. So that's what will happen if you don't think this through. Instead, the solution might be very simple, right? So don't think about this. I think many of the areas I see you are kind of put the solution also into the problem. Take an open mind. How do I solve? And whose problem is important? Is the student's problem important or the professor's problem important in this university?
Student's problem important.
Professor's problem is not important?
It is, but the priority goes to the student.
Priority goes to the student. So outsiders are not students. So why do you want to solve that problem? Let's take student problems and solve them. Let them solve it. The students in the room, but you have to be methodical about it. Like that $100 million, 30% target improving that problem, we all generated common sense ideas. The problem with common sense ideas is they will all be tip of the iceberg. So if you don't use the performance under supply X-ray, do the systematically the customer journey, find the trim tab, generate an extreme objective, you won't be able to get a transformative solution. Yeah?
So, can I interrupt?
Yeah, Nirmala?
Nirmala, can you scroll the screen? Sir, how you've spoken about campus navigation, can you talk about else the problem here so that the particular team would get an idea as to how to go about starting to do it?
Yeah, mobile application for differently abled person. Same problem. You are already thinking mobile application. So if there are differently abled persons, are they differently abled people students or are they other people?
So both, sir. Actually, we are planning for both.
Okay, that's great. So now you have to draw the customer journey of the differently abled people through various things they need to do in the campus. Pick one of their customer journeys and see if you can transform it.
Okay.
Because mobile application for differently abled already presupposes that you will build one mobile app, which depending on what differently able the person has, they may not be even able to see the app or hear the app or download the app. So I think you guys are getting caught up in the solution beforehand, which is a common pitfall in innovation. We have already designed the solution without even understanding what the problem is. And in my opinion, in the team that is tackling this problem, you should have at least one differently abled person in that team.
Yes, sir. We have, sir, but in the sense we are planning to include, but currently we don't have in the team, sir.
Yeah, you can add them to the team. If that is difficult, go and speak to the differently abled people.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
And there are many different, so there are disabilities of many kinds. Which one is the most common in your campus? That's what I think you should tackle. which is the typical different ability that you come across. Then you can design a solution for that. And once you solve the problem, the zoom out might be any kind of different ability I can handle. But if you start the reverse, I will handle all differently abled person. You will get one generic superficial mobile app, which again, once the graduate student passes out, that app is dead. Yeah, so don't do that. Online shopping website. See, I would request you all to take problems from within the university, because I would like you all to put your solution in production. I would like you to see your innovation in production. Online shopping website, you do that not in this program. Do that later on. Weather monitoring for farmers. Are there farmers within the campus in the university?
No.
No, then don't pick that. So please pick problems that either concern students or professors or the university in general.
Sir, can I interrupt, sir?
Yeah, please.
So the problem which I select, probably as you asked me now, we might not have farmers inside. But can I select a problem wherein even the student professors are directly or indirectly being affected?
For example?
Probably it is not an internal problem, but.
For example?
For example, problem during traveling from the residence to college.
Yes, of course. Yeah, that is a problem. Yes.
Okay, fine.
See, the stakeholders of the customers of that problem should be either the university staff, professors, or students, or all. Or, so if the customer is someone else outside these three stakeholders, don't pursue it right now.
Okay.
Because you won't be able to put it in production.
Okay.
Remember, we are seeking to do, right? Remember, seeking to do, not seeking to understand. Seeking to understand this innovation technique is pretty much useless by itself. Yeah, this lecture is nice. You all enjoyed it. Clap, 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 and go home. That's not good enough. So I want you guys to solve a real problem, put that solution in production, and gain that confidence, that joy that can come only from seeing your work in real use. Theoretically, we can build anything. You all have software engineering background, many of you. Building an application is a piece of cake. There's nothing difficult about it. Today, like 6th standard, 8th standard kids are building software. So don't get caught up in building software. Get caught up in, is this innovative enough? Challenge yourself. Is there an extreme objective?
So for February 4th, just check whether I am right. Now I need to draw my customer journey. I need to download the Excel from your site. I need to find out the trip track.
Yes.
Am I right, sir?
Correct. Find the trim tab. Set an extreme objective, design a solution, and present the solution in 1 or 2 slides to me when we meet on Feb 4th.
Okay, sir.
And in a 2-hour period, right, I can probably tackle 8 teams. If there are many more teams than that, I'm happy to spend another hour. I can spend as much time as you all need. It all depends how much enthusiasm you all have for learning. Now you may say I am enthusiastic about learning, but I will judge you all by what you deliver on Feb 4th.
Sure, sir.
Whether you really have enthusiasm or you're just saying it. Okay, so if 8 teams come up on Feb 4th, I'll be happy.
Fine.
If more teams come, I am super happy. If 20 teams show up, I will spend the entire day. No problem.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, but focus on applying the technique, learning to do. Do it. If possible, build a prototype. Yeah, I am going to challenge you, right? This is my job, to challenge you all. I will not be happy with some random thing that you all did. Take it seriously. I think you will learn it. And this could be a life skill that you can apply wherever you go. whichever job you choose, whichever industry you are in. So that's all I have. We have 2 more minutes. We can close the call, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's over to you, Nirmala ma'am and Sudha ma'am. Any closing comments? I thank you all for the energetic exchange of ideas and responses.
Over to you, Nirmala. Please unmute your mic.
Yeah. A good beginning makes a good ending. On behalf of my college and Hindustan School of Computer Applications, I am very hearty gratitude to the speaker, Mr. Sukumar, for sharing his innovative thoughts on design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design. We are thankful to our principal, Dr. K. Karunakaran, our beloved HOD and staff members for their constant support and motivation. A special thanks to the organizing committee for their unflinching support and coordination. A very special thanks to the participants, because without whom the session would not have been interactive. Special thanks to the coordinators of various departments who have pooled their students for this event on time. Student friends for their active participation. A special thanks. And of course, we have heard up all your points and we have noted down, sir. And we are surely going to take up the next phase, like seeking to do should be followed. Surely we will solve the real problem and get the join in its implementation in our own campus. So it was really an innovative session. The lecture session given by you was quite innovative, and we are into it so that we will be able to solve it, and we will be able to catch you on February 4th with our a lot of queries and problems with you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
So February 4th, 2 to 4 p.m. is when we are going to meet.
Okay,
Sure.
sir.
Because in the morning I have a program, so from 2 to 4. I hope that's okay. There won't be any lecture. You are all going to present, so it should be okay to do it in the afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Participants, the feedback form has been shared in the chat box. Kindly fill up the feedback form. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Bye.
To declare. Sir,
அவர் டிஸ்கனெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டாரு. என்னம்மா டிஸ்கனெக்ட் பண்ணிட்டாரு, சொல்லுங்க.
photo.
அப்பவே எடுத்திருக்கணும்ல. அவர் ஒரு 12:30 ஷார்ப் வி வாண்டட் டு பி. சரி எடுங்க, இப்ப எடுங்க. Participants, please unmute your video for photo shoot. Okay. Deepa, okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, shall
Thank
we
you.
close it? Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
all.
we can do it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Pa.